Hello, good people of Twitch and the internet, even though there's no one there. Today is Monday, it's Variety, and I figured let's start the tutorial of Railway Empire 2. I played Railway Empire, the first one, when it was given away not too long ago on the Epic Games Store, and I didn't actually get too far into it, but it was a game that I wanted to get into. I liked Sid Meier's Railways a long time ago. I was hoping for something not exactly like that, but you know, to rekindle those thoughts. So I'm giving Railway Empire 2 a go. But first we need to learn how to play the game. And best way to do that is to play the tutorial. At least that's how I figure anyway. So tutorial 1, learn how to use basics operations, move around the map, rotate. Okay, this is going to be a quick one. Oh no. Building stations, laying tracks. Importance of steam engine and trains for towns and rural businesses. Sure.
Greetings. I've been expecting you. I'm Lawrence Vanderswag.
He's been expecting me.
And I want to help you find your way in the world of railways. I'll tell you everything you need to know to set up a successful transport company. Of course, if you want to make money transporting passengers, mail, and freight, you need to understand where the need for new railway lines is greatest. This is, for example, where goods are produced. Have a look at the map. Move the map in all directions and change the zoom level. And now, turn the camera in all directions. Very well. Now take a closer look at the area around the two cities, San Francisco and Sacramento. Cities and rural businesses are crucial to the transportation business. Cities produce factory goods, mail, and travelers. There is a need for transportation to other cities for these goods. Farms in the countryside produce basic goods and raw materials, which are also needed by cities. As long as there are no railroads, all goods must be transported via simple rural roads. But these transports do not cover long distances, are tedious and slow. Therefore, the transport volume is not through the railroad. The old transport routes can be replaced. In addition, cities and farms that were previously too far apart can be connected. Improving goods supply ensures that cities grow. Rural businesses in the countryside also grow because they can sell more goods. Take a closer look at Sacramento. Under the name, you can see the size of the city. Move your focus to the city and you'll see what it currently produces for export to other cities. Sacramento has a steady supply of passengers, mail, and export goods every day, some of which is destined for San Francisco. San Francisco, in turn, has goods for Sacramento. Build a rail link between the two cities to take these shipments. First, construct a railroad station in Sacramento. Open the building construction to Selected. Then move it to a valid location within the Sacramento City region. It's best to rotate it so that the tracks face San Francisco.
Right. So it wants us to, okay, rotate the building as shift and mouse wheel. Got it. And it wants to be facing that way. I mean, are we going to be creating the bridge? It says face it. It's like one of the more complex connections, right? This is the tutorial and failing at the first hurdle. Let's assume that we're going to come down this bit. Or would we go over this bit? Go overland. I mean, it's tutorial. It's not my money. Fine.
By the way, each station can be expanded after construction with up to 2 additional buildings and 7 tracks. However, certain buildings like factories can get in the way of expanding the tracks. Therefore, do not build the station too close to these buildings.
Maybe you should have told me that before.
Now build the second station in San Francisco. Move the station to a valid position within the city borders and turn it preferably to the southeast so that you can get well around the bay in the next step.
So it wants me to do it in this direction.
Very good. And now establish a track connection between the two cities. To do this, open the track construction mode and select the first station track at both stations in turn. The stations will then be connected and the entire track will be shown to you as a preview, which you can still modify.
Select the first station track. Like this. This is the first one. I mean, that's a big crossover now that I've rotated them. I mean, this would make more sense, but it wants me to click on that one.
The preview track follows the shortest path. However, this is not always possible and often not the cheapest solution. Especially tunnels and bridges can be very expensive. In the overview, you can see how the track construction costs are composed.
Yeah, so that is building a huge tunnel under these mountains. I assume that's this purple bit from here to here. Fine.
To change the course of a proposed track, you can insert track points and then move them. Now set such a track point once by selecting the track. Now optimize the cost of the track with the help of track points. Please note that length, slopes, as well as tight curves will have a negative effect on the travel time of your trains. Then confirm the construction.
So clicking on the track did that. But if I click over here, or do I click and drag? Insert track point. Yeah, so you can drag it all out the way. Oh, you can see the cost changes as well. So up here, oh, it has multiple gradients. And I've stuck in that track point there, so that's always going to stay there. So kind of, you know, putting that out to 0. I mean, that's not too bad. This end of things isn't as good. The cost is already down significantly. I wonder if we pull that out. It makes the curve a bit bigger. In fact, this is even better. Or is it not? No, there's a gradient on both of them. Depends what you're trying to optimize for, because this, you can see the speed on the on that bottom section because it's got a 4% incline. Oh no, and the bend as well. So the bend of the track is causing issues, and it's got some weird height. Anyway, tutorial, so it doesn't matter.
Very good. The track has been built and can be used immediately. Now set up a rail line.
Okay, so we have a track. So you build the stations, you build the track, then you build the new line.
Now add your stations to the rail line by selecting them one by one. It's enough if the rail line has 2 stations. Now assign the type of locomotive to the train line which all trains should use. At the moment, you have only 1 locomotive to choose from. Now specify how many trains should run on the rail line. To start off, 1 train is enough. The display tells you how many trains are currently active and how many you have requested. For each train, you have to pay the cost of purchasing the locomotive. Now, confirm this cost.
So it's saying I have 0, but I want 1. The route of your rail line runs on tracks that are cleared for both directions, and the route offers no alternatives. If there is more than 1 train on this route, there will be conflicts.
Fantastic.
Confirmed.
The train is now immediately deployed and will soon be on its way. Now close the edit mode to see the rail line in action. Zoom in on the train and watch it load. The train is loading goods, passengers, and mail destined for the other city. Let's wait until the train reaches the other city. By the way, you can increase the gameplay speed at any time. Also, the game runs faster when you zoom out.
Is the game paused at the moment? I mean, it's set to close the edit mode, but I'm sure there's a way to follow it. Just have to watch it from afar. Center train. There we go. Enters the plus. I was hoping the plus would increase the speed of the game, but it doesn't. I think you have to click those two. Well, I guess we're just going to watch it at slow speed. Are these Mexican flags in the front? Was California part of... I mean, even this part of California part of Mexico at this time? You can increase gameplay speed at any time, but clearly I can't. Anyway, so I'll just wait for this to go here. Sacramento to San Francisco Express. Maybe it's not technically an express. It didn't tell me how to remove track points. Maybe I needed to learn that.
The train has arrived and is being unloaded. The numbers rising above the train are the transport revenue. This is the most important source of revenue for your company. However, each train also generates personnel and maintenance costs, but more on that later. Keep watching for a bit, and this tutorial will end.
What do I mean keep watching for a bit? I'm just done now. The tutorial is now complete. Do you want to start the next tutorial? Yes, please. Track construction.
Hello! In this lesson, I want to give you some additional information about track construction. You already know the basics, but I have a few important tips. First, consider the cattle farm with the road connection to Sacramento. The road tells us that the farm can deliver goods to the city. In this case, livestock to the meat industry.
Yep.
But transportation by roads is slow and limited.
It sure
Sacramento
is.
could produce more meat if the city received more livestock. Therefore,
Yes,
you
more
are now
livestock.
to establish a railroad connection between the cattle farm and Sacramento. In order for a rural business to use a station, the station must be set up nearby. This is indicated to you by a line from the farm to the station.
In order for a rural business to use the station must be set up nearby, indicated by a line from the farm to the station. What line? This? Isn't that the road? Or just... Oh, it means when you're building a station. So it's saying that both of these could use this, but it's also the, the green area. I think the green area is clearer rather than saying the line. Anyway, do you want me to build the building then? I assume so. Train station. Yes. Okay, so we're going to rotate it. We're going to put it, right in the middle of these two. Or maybe not, because it said industry could be affected.
Very good.
Very good.
Now, build the track between the new station and the station in Sacramento. Don't use the first two station tracks in Sacramento, though, because we still need them for the connection to San Francisco.
Okay. I mean, I'm not quite sure. I mean, it's their own thing. When they say 1 and 2, they mean these two. So it probably makes sense for me to use, I don't know, one in the middle.
Great. But before you build the track, I want to explain how you can influence the height of a track. To do this, insert a track point on the track and change its height. You will see the controls at the bottom of the screen when you move the focus over the track point.
I mean, you're telling me this on a track which is relatively... has a good height. I mean, it's a bit level, a bit higher than the plane up there. Bit of earthworks, yeah. But I think it's a pretty good height otherwise. Anyway, let's do that. So I've added the track point. And what does it want me to do? You'll see the controls at the bottom of the screen when you move the focus over a track point. So you can remove the track point. There you go. Shift click. Or you can change the height by shift and using the mouse wheel.
With the height of a track point, you can influence tunnels, bridges, and slopes. Now, optimize the track so that no tunnels or bridges are needed, and the track has a length of less than 250 kilometers or 160 miles. Then, confirm the track construction.
I mean, I didn't even need to build a track point for that, so I'm just going to remove my track point. Because I think this is already better, because it has max speed on that. And it has a 1% incline. So,
excellent.
Pretty good.
Now, set up a rail line between the cattle operation and Sacramento. To do this, create a new rail line between the two stations, select a locomotive and a train, and confirm the cost.
So, new rail line. I mean, we didn't give a name to the last one. I suppose we could. Meat sack. I mean, okay, that sounds maybe a bit rude. Locomotive, well, we only have the one option. And what? We need one? Currently not available. Less than one. Am I... Set up a rail line between the cattle operation and Sacramento. Oh, you need to choose the points first. And now, okay, that's still not available. Loading automatic. Hasn't told me about that yet. Sure. 8 days. 8 days to run the train. How far is that? Anyway, according to the setting you made, your train line cannot perform any actions at the station of Anderson Terminal. You should check the settings so that the trains do not have to make unnecessary stops. According to the settings you made, cannot perform any actions. Why can't it perform any actions? Loading automatic. It's fine. We're going to do this, and they're going to tell me that I've done something wrong, even though it's their instructions.
But suppose the demand for cattle becomes so great that one train on this line is not enough. Then you should now build a sidetrack and define directions of travel so that several trains can operate between the cattle farm and Sacramento. Open the track build mode again. Now select the track at the marked position to insert a switch. Now it gets tricky. You have to lay the new track as a parallel track to the existing one. Parallel tracks are much cheaper and offer many advantages. Move your cursor to the marked position and make sure that the parallel track symbol appears on the cursor. Then confirm the position. Very good. Now the track will continue to be built as a parallel track. Now select the last position for your sidetrack near the cattle farm. You will see the complete track with 2 switches as a preview. Then confirm the construction and pay for this track.
So it wants me to click here. Select the last position for your sidetrack near the cattle farm. Wrong position. So it wants me to do that, doesn't it? It says 2 switches. I can see 1 switch. Okay. I was just too far away from where it wants me to place it. Anyway. So then the track planning is much cheaper, I guess. It just wants me to confirm it. I mean, it doesn't like this. The form or the length of the switch is invalid. Move the cursor onto the planned track or track point to make changes. But it doesn't like this. even though it's what they wanted me to do. Yeah, but move track point. Fine. Why doesn't it want me to move it? Move track point. I want it to be there. Like that. I mean, that's too slow. But that's a valid track. It just doesn't want to... Doesn't like it because it's on the curve, maybe? So then I put it here, and it just says wrong position. So let's remove the track points. Currently not available. Well, game, you're a bit stuck, aren't you? Come on. You can't tell me that something's the wrong position when the game is equally complaining. Will it let me move this back? No. It's all the wrong position. Delete planning. Not available. None of these things are available because we're in the tutorial. Can I even quit out of it? Demolish it? Nothing is available. Right. Reload. Report issue. I feel like I should. Try that again, shall we? Track construction. And this time, when it's red, we're not just going to listen to it.
Hello.
Yeah.
In this lesson,
How do I speed him
want
up?
to give you some additional information about track.
X.
First,
There you go.
consider the cattle farm with
Yeah,
the
we
road
considered
connection
it.
to Sacramento.
Oh, no, you can't
The
actually
road tells us
speed it
that
up.
the farm can deliver goods to the city. In this case,
Next.
therefore, you are now to establish a railroad connection between the cattle farm and Sacramento. In order for a rural business to use a station, the station must be set up nearby. This is indicated to you by a line from the farm to the station. Very good. And
Very
now
good.
build the track between the new station and the station in Sacramento. Don't use the first two station tracks in Sacramento, though, because we still need them for the connection to San Francisco. Great! But before you
Great.
build the track, I want to explain how you can influence the height of a track. To do this, insert a track point on the track and change its height. You will see the controls at the bottom of the screen when you move the focus over the track point. With the height of a track point, you can influence tunnels, bridges, and slopes. Now, optimize the track so that no tunnels or bridges are needed, and the track has a length of less than 250 kilometers or 160 miles. Then, confirm the track construction.
So I'm going to make the track slightly different. In the hopes that it will, you know, not bug out this time. I mean, it doesn't matter about getting a perfect one. I also lower that. Okay, 1% gradient on both parts. I think that's okay. I mean, it's maybe not great. Anyway.
Excellent. Now, set up a rail line between the cattle operation and
Rail line.
Sacramento. To do this, create a new rail line between the two stations, select a locomotive and a train, and confirm the cost.
So it doesn't actually tell you in that instruction to perform any actions.
That
Yeah, I
done,
did this
the
before.
rail line can begin service. But suppose the demand for cattle becomes so great that one train on this line is therefore, you should now build a sidetrack and define directions of... Now select the track at the marked position to insert a switch.
Okay, this one is less on the bend, so it's
Now
probably
get
going to be...
straight. You have to lay the new
Okay.
track as a parallel track to the existing one. Parallel tracks are much cheaper and offer many advantages. Move your cursor to the marked position and make sure that the parallel track symbol appears on the cursor.
Otherwise, the
Then
game may break
confirm the
and
position.
hate you for it.
Very good. Now the track will continue to be built as a parallel track. Now select the last position for your sidetrack near the cattle farm. You will see the complete track with two switches as a preview. Then confirm the construction and pay for this track.
I have
now
paid
you
for
have
this
to
track.
set directions for the 2 parallel tracks.
I see.
Otherwise, your trains will always choose the shortest way and not use the side track.
Well, we want
Now
them to use the
open
sidetrack, don't
direction
we?
mode and select both tracks several times so that they receive different directions.
So this one goes in that direction. Although, yeah, it's only doing the bits where there's parallel lines.
Very good. Now your
you didn't
trains
actually...
can go one way and return the other.
Yeah, but you didn't let me
Why
actually
don't
see
you
it.
zoom in close to one of the new turnouts and take a look at the signals that were automatically created by the turnouts and the direction of travel. These signals define directions of travel and tell trains where to stop if the track section in front of them is already occupied or reserved.
Does it? I mean, I'd just like to... It just doesn't let you see anything. Right. What it wants me to do? Just zoom in and look at it. Oh, I just have to trust you because I can't actually see the real thing.
Second train on this route, because your rail line can already transport much more livestock than the previous rural road. This allows the meat industry in Sacramento to produce more meat, which also benefits your rail line to San Francisco. Now, let's take a closer look at this rail line. Open the Sacramento City dialog by selecting the Sacramento City borders. You can select anything except special buildings. Important information about the city is shown here.
It is.
At the top, the citizens of the city are displayed. Below that is how many wagons of goods the citizens and the industries in the city could consume and how well this demand is currently covered.
So consumption is how many wagons of goods. But it's not, when it says goods, is it any goods? So it may be that there's enough, you know, there's 2.2 wagons coming in, but they're all the wrong goods.
Furthermore, the current train usage is shown for freight, passengers, and mail. Below that, it shows how many passengers and how much mail are currently waiting for transport and how much is added per week. It is important to note here, these express goods do not wait forever. For example, after a few days of waiting, travelers will gradually abandon their journey or look for another way.
It seems like quite a high number. I don't know how frequent the trains would be, or it doesn't really say where all these passengers are going to, does it? They're not all going to want to go to San Francisco.
The same is true for mail. So if you want to transport as many express goods to San Francisco as possible, a train should leave Sacramento every 5 to 10 days. However, your existing rail line only has one train and only reaches Sacramento every 15 to 20 days, so you have to put in another train.
It would be nice if I could see, I mean, maybe I could if I had access to some of the other menus. How long, because it says it's going to every 15 to 20 days, because it's going to have to go there and back. And it's what, like 5 days? Anyway.
However, this route does not offer any alternative options for several trains. Now you have to change that, but this time with a different method than before.
A different method.
Open the track construction mode and build a railway line from Track 2 in Sacramento to Track 2 in San Francisco. You will see that this track is automatically planned as a parallel track and is therefore very convenient.
Very convenient. Yes.
The 2 parallel tracks do not help yet.
No,
You still have to
they don't
connect
help.
them. There is a very practical method for this, the station gridiron. With it, you can connect parallel tracks in front of stations. Select the station gridiron and build it in front of the Sacramento and San Francisco stations.
Build it in front of it, but like anywhere in particular. So build one there and build one at the other end, right about there.
Excellent. Now set different directions for the 2 parallel tracks so that the trains can avoid each other. Select the track direction mode again and set different directions for the 2 tracks by selecting the track sections. Excellent. By setting directions, all signals are automatically created here as well. Now your track is ready for more trains. Close the track construction mode and select the rail line from Sacramento to San Francisco. You can do this in several ways.
Can I? Not that way,
First,
apparently.
simply select the train that is traveling between the two cities. Do that. You can also simply switch through all your rail lines. Try that too. And there is a
Cool.
third way. Select the track between San Francisco and Sacramento. Then, a list of all the rail lines that use this track will open on the left. You can also select the desired rail line from this list. Now select Edit Rail Line and increase the number of trains to 2. The cost of this is for the locomotive, which has to be bought new. Fortunately, the wagons cost you nothing. Confirm the cost so the second train can be purchased, and then close the mode. Perfect! Take a close look at the station and the station gridiron in Sacramento. The new train can be created immediately, because thanks to the gridiron, both tracks are available to the rail line. The gridiron is more than just a crossover. While the train always chooses the shortest way at a crossover, at the gridiron, free tracks at the station are preferred.
The gridiron is more than just a crossover. While a train always chooses the shortest way at a crossover, at the gridiron, free tracks at the station are preferred. So if this is free but this one isn't, it will go into that. It'll go into this one. Doesn't matter which one it's on. Oh, I suppose this is coming in this one. So if that, yeah, it can choose either one. Well, I think that's what it's trying to say.
Place gridirons at all parallel tracks in front of a station if there is enough space available, because the more tracks are to be connected, the longer the structure. Since the station gridiron can only be used by one train at a time, I wouldn't recommend you to connect more than 4 parallel tracks. Now let's wait for the train.
Because the more tracks are to be connected, the longer the structure. Oh right, and they can only be used by one train at a time. So if you're connecting 4 tracks, it wouldn't be this long, it would be like all the way out to here, and therefore you'd only be able to have one train on those 4 bits of track between here and here. Anyway, we can speed the game up now. What are we waiting for? This train to arrive. The town has shrunk because we've been doing terrible things in our tutorial apparently. Also, I swear I thought the motion went the other way. Can't remember. Cool. Trainers arrive there. Are we going to have to wait for it to get back? Really? It only has to... So if we look at San Francisco...
And already the new train is on the way. By the way,
Doesn't let me
the
choose
train
that.
number of the train you are currently looking at is shown above. Switch through the trains on your train line once. This is useful, for example, if you want to see what each train has loaded.
Switch through the trains of your train line once. But... What do you want about? You won't let me choose any of these things. You're trying to make me... Train completed the last tour without freight. Well, that's useless. It won't let me do anything. Is this tutorial completely broken? Because this is number 1. It's like it didn't actually give me a second train. And it's expecting there to be 2 trains. This is slightly infuriating. Slowed due to missing operating supplies. Well, it's because you haven't told me how to create those yet. I seriously think this tutorial's bugged. It's fine. We don't have to do that now. mid-tutorial tell them that the tutorial is broken? Like, what does it want me to do? It wants me to click on something. Switch through the trains of your train line once. Well, you're not letting me do any of that. What were the options? You can click on... You could cycle through those. You could click on a train, or you could click on the track. It won't let me click on the track. It won't let me click on the train. Restart. Do I do this for the third time? Where's my tick? Right, what was the other thing? Also learn about station gridiron, which can be installed in front of the stations to allow you to have free track choice at a station. Fine. There may be something it doesn't tell me about. Or it would have told me about, but failed because the tutorials is just a bit buggy. Disappointingly buggy.
Welcome to my lesson on locomotive maintenance. First, you need to know that all locomotives have different maintenance intervals and consumption depending on their type. Take a look at the rail line between Sacramento and San Francisco. Here you can see the current state of the locomotive. The
Ooh.
lower the condition is,
Red is
the more
bad.
often the train has a breakdown and stops on the way. Locomotives are automatically repaired at stations if they have a maintenance depot. To do this, try choosing the station in Sacramento.
Try.
Here you can select Construct Extension. Do that and take a look at the options available. Then build a maintenance depot.
Right, but the button that you're highlighting is routes using the station. With the help of maintenance depot, locomotives are automatically serviced if their condition is below the maintenance limit. Construct this extension. Sure.
Very good. Whenever the state bar of a locomotive has dropped to about 60%, it will be serviced. And since the Sacramento station is used by both of your train lines, the maintenance depot also benefits both train lines. Now close the station again and select a train line once more.
Close the station again and select the train line once more. That.
These three bars show the levels of water, sand, and oil. If operating materials are missing, the locomotive will be significantly slower. Water is needed on a daily basis. Sand is needed when going uphill to increase the friction of the wheels. Oil is needed to lubricate moving parts, and the amount required is dependent upon the distance traveled.
Interesting.
All of the operating materials that a locomotive requires can be obtained at supply towers,
Okay.
which must be built along the tracks. Open the building menu and select the supply tower. Now build a supply tower near each of the marked positions.
Like here and here? Is that what it wants us to do? What's with the circle?
Very good. Both rail lines can now reach a supply tower. You can build them at any position along your lines, but they should be far enough away from switches and stations so that a long train can stop at them without creating conflicts.
Build them at any position along your line, but they should be far enough away from switches and stations so that a long train can stop at them without creating conflicts. Right, so if you... I mean, if it's a single track, you're going to have a problem anyway, but... yes, if you've got a double track, then it could maybe use the other one. Although not if you've got... because you're setting direction. Anyway, I don't understand.
There's one more building that has to do with maintenance. The maintenance post.
The maintenance
Select this
post.
building type. Unlike the maintenance depot or the supply tower, the maintenance post is not a required building type. It is suitable, however, when many trains come together in a small space because the maintenance post can reduce breakdowns and thus long traffic jams and conflicts considerably. However, this also results in daily upkeep costs.
Suitable when they come together in a small space, reducing breakdowns.
This brings us to the end of this lesson.
Well, this was a
Feel
short
free to
lesson.
look around some more. Once you have finished, this tutorial will end.
Great. once I've finished looking around. Okay, I finished looking around. It's saying it's going to end, but it clearly hasn't. Alright, now you can finish it. Yeah. Do you want to start the next tutorial? Track construction. Yeah, but we did this one. It's not the next one, it's the previous one.
Hello. In this lesson, I want to give you some...
Right, we're not doing that one again. So, doubly annoyingly, it thinks I haven't done it. I mean, I don't know if I have. But it just means that every time I finish a tutorial, it's going to send me back to that one. Why, thank you, game.
This lesson is about optimizing rail lines. Specifically, how to optimize the revenue of a rail line according to its tasks. For this purpose, select a train of the rail line from Sacramento to San Francisco. Since this rail line operates between two cities, it transports passengers and mail. These two goods are among the express goods because they require fast transportation. Consequently, the faster the transport, the higher the transport revenue. For example, the faster you transport a passenger, the higher. Now open the balance sheet of the rail line. Here you can see, among other information, what revenues the selected train had on its last full tour.
Seems like it was making more money from freight.
Freight transportation also plays a role. While Sacramento produces meat, San Francisco has cloth. Fixed prices are paid for freight transportation, so speed is not a factor here.
Okay, but based on those numbers, I'd rather have freight.
Now consider the costs. Maintenance and fuel are mainly affected by the length of a tour, but personnel generates daily costs, so speed plays a factor here. Also, a rail line can transport more if it is faster. However, freight is much heavier than express goods, and a locomotive cannot be fast and powerful at the same time. Therefore, there are different locomotives. For example, on this rail line, a mixed-use locomotive is used. This is always good if the load consists of at most half freight goods. If there is a higher percentage of freight, a freight locomotive would be better, because the train will otherwise be very slow even on slight inclines.
So the one that it's pointing at is a mixed use. Always used, always good if the load consists of at most half freight goods. There's a higher percentage than you want a freight locomotive. And if you have a lower, like, is there a specialized one for passengers?
We now want to test a freight locomotive
Probably.
and one for express goods between the two cities. Open the research and development section.
Hell yes.
Here you will see many technologies that you can unlock over the years. They improve countless aspects of your business. These include higher ticket prices, happier passengers, and even more modern locomotives. Your current locomotive is the Dunham. Select it and let's take a look at its data.
The Dunham? Is that in this menu somewhere? Because this is the Grasshopper and that's the John Bull. Am I being blind or is it in a different menu?
Compare
This
the
one.
speed, tractive
Being
power,
blind.
and suitability
Rather
of the
not being
Dunham
blind,
with
it's
the
just
two locomotives
I was
to the
using
right of the Dunham,
left and
the
right,
Derwent
which
and the
jumps you
Firefly.
too far.
You can see that the fast Firefly has a much lower tractive power than the powerful Derwent. This means that the Firefly is much worse at pulling heavy loads, but much faster at pulling light loads. Now, unlock these two locomotives so you can use them in your rail line.
So I missed a bit of what I was saying. This is the one we currently have, which is mixed. Speed of 43, popularity, fine. Maintenance requirements. Tractive power, 20%. This one is for freight, and it has higher tractive power and speed, actually. No, lower speed. Lower maintenance requirements, or is that good that it's lower? Whereas this one is suitable only for express. lower power and higher speed. Some popularity with people then? Don't know. It wants us to unlock both anyway.
Very good. Now close this dialogue. Now optimize the rail line for express goods. Exchange the locomotive for the Firefly and select Express as the load type. Then pay the cost for the new locomotives and close this dialogue.
So our Sacramento to San Francisco will just be for express. 2 trains.
Now watch your rail line and use the fast forward function if you like. It will only pick up express goods and it will reach a much higher speed than before. After a while, it will even show the express symbol. This means your rail line is the fastest of its time and gets even higher ticket revenue. You don't have to offer an express line, of course. Everything works with slower and mixed transports as well. But suppose you have a good reason for this optimization. Then of course, freight transport is missing. If you can't transport freight on the same tracks, that would slow down the express trade. Therefore, you should expand the tracks from Sacramento to San Francisco.
You don't have to offer an express line. So I'm interested to see how much money this makes. Oh, it won't even let us look at the balance. But I suppose you could just watch it. It didn't say anything. Right, 1,000. Is that from... or is that the maintenance cost? Because it made... balance of the last tour was 7,450. Which is decent. Anyway, it wants us to expand the tracks, doesn't it?
Extend the 2 parallel tracks from Sacramento to San Francisco by 2 more tracks. Then build a station gridiron at each station, connecting each of the 4 tracks. You can just build the new station gridiron on top of the previous one, but be aware that the new gridiron is much longer. Don't forget the directions for the new tracks.
So you want me to build this now? So we're gonna do it parallel. So that's 1. Oh, we have to build that first. I'll take the other one. And that one has a bridge down here, I guess. Cool. It wants me to build a... well, we have to do track direction. So click that. It's cool that it's 2 in the middle. Anyway. And then the gridiron says we should be able to... oh no. Really? Is the game broken again? Or is it just all the way out to there? That seems super long. Is it? Like, do I need to delete this gridiron then? Build a station gridiron at each station connecting each of the 4 tracks. You can just build the new station gridiron on top of the previous one, but be aware the new gridiron is much longer. I mean, it's not letting me build it on top of the previous one. And it seems to be starting from here, doesn't it? I don't know. Who knows? At this end... yeah, that seems to be taking the correct amount of track. Like it's using that there.
Now create a new rail line from Sacramento to San Francisco. To make it use the new tracks, you need to set waypoints. To do this, select the following 4 objects in sequence: Sacramento, the outbound track; San Francisco, the return track.
So we're going to build a new rail line. And only to use specific track. Need to set waypoints. Sacramento outbound, San Francisco return. Except I don't know which way the tracks move. I guess it doesn't matter too much. And this one. And then it's saying I should use that one to go back in. Why is it saying that one and not, like, the middle one? Yeah, it wants me to use that one, which is...
Very good. Now use
Okay.
the Derwent as the locomotive. Select freight to be loaded because this rail line should only carry freight.
So we want the Derwent because it's for freight. We want to load only freight. 1 train or 2?
That's exactly how it's done. Normally,
Exactly.
trains always take the shortest way, but by using waypoints, you can specify certain paths. You should also do this for your express line, so that the 2 lines don't get in each other's way. Otherwise, we're through with this lesson, so when you're ready, you can finish it.
Okay. But how do I edit the existing line then? This is my express line. Edit rail line. So I can... I mean, it's already seemingly using those 2 tracks. Right? So if I touch it, it'll probably mess it up. And I need to delete those 2. So Sacramento, waypoint 1, San Francisco, waypoint 2. Express, sure. Anyway, I'm just going to finish. I do not want to do track construction. We've been through it a couple times. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed the video, then please leave a like. And if you think you would enjoy more, then please subscribe, or even join me live on Twitch. Whilst it's cliche, all of these will help the channel. On screen is something carefully curated, or something the YouTube algorithm suggests, or maybe even both. In any case, have a great day.